take a deep breath, because what we're about to dive into isn't just surprising, it's raising eyebrows across the royal watching world. Princess Charlotte, once known for her iconic side eyes and moody little waves, has reemerged with a transformation that's got more than a few people whispering, "Is everything really okay?" Now, it's not just royal fans doing double takes. Word is, even Kate and William were caught off guard. And while the official line is that they were emotional behind palace doors, some say it felt less like happy tears and more like a moment of quiet panic, because their daughter didn't just grow up, she changed. And it didn't come with flashing cameras or tabloid drama. It started silently. It was just one photo, a seemingly sweet birthday portrait. But the reaction was swift and intense. On May 2nd, 2025, to mark Charlotte's 10th birthday, Kensington Palace released a photo taken by none other than Kate herself. Sounds wholesome, right? Until you look a little closer. This wasn't your usual glossy royal portrait with lace collars and puffed sleeves. Instead, Charlotte was sprawled casually on a hillside in the Lake District, wearing a camouflage jacket and a backpack, staring straight into the lens with a grin that almost looked rehearsed. No bows, no pastels, just full adventure girl mode, which would have been fine, except it felt off and almost too curated. Social media, of course, exploded. "Mini William," cried one tweet. "Channeling Diana," said another. But a few people raised another kind of question. When did Charlotte get so camera savvy, and why did this photo feel more like a statement than a memory? This wasn't the same kid who once grumbled her way through public appearances. Something had shifted, not just in looks, but in energy. And that's when people started digging back. This wasn't a one-time glow-up. There were signs, things we'd brushed off. Like her Wimbledon appearance in summer 2024, amid a sea of A-listers in the royal box, Charlotte sat stone-faced and composed, dressed in a navy polka dot dress and pink Ray-Bans, like someone fully aware she was being watched. The outfit was nearly identical to one Kate wore 2 years earlier. Was it just a cute coincidence or curated mimicry? And the accessories? Gone were the frilly Mary Janes. In came ballet flats, coordinated with surgical precision. Suddenly, Charlotte's style seemed less like childhood experimentation and more like a strategy, as if someone, somewhere, had decided it was time she played a different role. But was it Charlotte's choice or someone else's vision? Because style aside, the personality shift is what's really got people whispering. The little girl who once clung to her mother's hand is now confidently taking over balcony moments and exchanging pleasantries with dignitaries like a mini diplomat. Composure like that, it doesn't always come naturally, especially not to a 10-year-old. And yet, the transformation kept layering on. Behind those polished photo ops, Charlotte has reportedly taken on a rigorous schedule. Ballet, tap, football, rugby, track and field, and gymnastics were just some of the activities she was involved in. Not to mention, she was also juggling a regular school life at a modern co-ed day school where she's supposedly just one of the kids. But let's be real. How normal is it really? According to Prince William, weekends at home resemble a mini Olympics. Competition after competition. There was no time for lounging and no space for slowness. On paper, it sounds impressive. But behind closed doors, is it a bit much? Some royal watchers are quietly wondering whether Charlotte's transformation is happening too fast. Is she trying to meet someone's expectations, or are we seeing a child growing up in a palace fishbowl, adjusting herself to meet the gaze before anyone even asks her to? Even Prince William's recent oversharing at a Welsh investiture raised a few questions. Gushing about Charlotte's love of hurdles and 400-meter sprints, he seemed proud, but also slightly performative. Why reveal so much detail? Why push the athlete-princess angle so hard? And if Charlotte is truly living the normal life royal insiders keep promising us, why does every appearance feel so polished? Then come the subtler signs. A perfectly braided hairdo here, a swipe of lip gloss there, handmade friendship bracelets were stacked on her wrist like a carefully constructed prop. These details are sweet until they feel like symbols, signals that Charlotte's learning to balance a dual life, half princess, half influencer. And that's where it starts to get murky, because this isn't just about clothes or hobbies, it's about pressure. Growing up royal has never been easy, but this version of it feels more curated than ever. Charlotte may still goof off with her brothers and eat too much cake, but the version we're seeing online is not just a kid. That's a brand in development, and somewhere in all this shine and spectacle, you have to wonder, is she okay? William and Kate have worked hard to shield their kids from the harsher glare of royal fame.
The Princess of Wales.
But as Charlotte steps into a new public role, you can sense the weight starting to shift. The expectations are growing louder. The world is watching closely. That might explain the so-called tears. Because while the headlines paint them as happy, proud parents, the truth could be a little more complicated. Maybe it's not pride alone they're feeling. Maybe it's fear. Fear that the innocence is slipping away. Fear that the child they've guarded so fiercely is learning to perform before she's even had time to just be herself. Clearly, something's shifting in her persona, and trust us, you're not ready for the truth behind it. Not everyone is sure it's just a typical case of growing up, because Princess Charlotte's changing way too fast. And while official narratives paint her as calm, confident, and composed, some observers are starting to wonder, is there something else going on? Lately, Charlotte has been by Kate's side more than ever, offering what looks like poised support during major events. At the 80th anniversary VE Day celebrations, she walked onto the Buckingham Palace balcony with a noticeable stillness. Calm? Maybe. But she was almost too calm for a 10-year-old. She chatted with Kate while the Royal Air Force's red arrows soared overhead, but some watchers couldn't help but feel the moment seemed a little practiced. Photographers even captured Kate gently fixing Charlotte's braid. It seems sweet, but repeated public grooming, including hair tucks, shoulder taps, and whispered reminders, could also point to a tightly managed image.
With you now, the caption says, all set for the King's birthday parade.
And considering Kate's unofficial role as family photographer, snapping not just Charlotte's birthday picture, but also Prince George's, one begins to ask, are these moments being documented or orchestrated? Charlotte's also been more assertive in public, stepping into a big sister role that feels remarkably disciplined. Last year's Trooping the Color made headlines not for royal pageantry, but because Charlotte was seen sternly instructing her younger brother Louis on how to hold his arms during the national anthem. While some praised her composure, others noted how serious she seemed, almost as if she were carrying the weight of royal protocol far beyond her years. And that comparison to Princess Anne? It's flattering on paper, but Anne's reputation for strict formality raises the question, is Charlotte mirroring a role that's expected of her rather than one she's chosen? The royal stage isn't just confined to palace balconies anymore. Now it's a social media phenomenon, and Charlotte's transformation is unfolding in real time, but not without raising some red flags. Remember the Taylor Swift moment in June 2024? Charlotte, flanked by William and George, attended the Eras Tour at Wembley and scored a backstage photo with Taylor and Travis Kelce. The public went wild, especially after Jason Kelce praised her on his podcast. But the whole situation felt almost too perfect, like a setup designed for maximum viral potential. Then there was Christmas at Sandringham. Charlotte made headlines for bending casually into a fan's phone to take a selfie, a gesture that stunned royal watchers. Royals aren't usually allowed to do that. So, was it spontaneity or a quiet push toward modern relatability? And again, in May at VE Day, videos showed Charlotte swaying to the music while Louis danced nearby. Viewers called it cute, but others noticed Charlotte's expression. It was controlled and unreadable. Why does she seem so still, even when surrounded by noise and joy? On the surface, William and Kate appear proud, but their silence speaks volumes. They haven't publicly addressed Charlotte's rapid transformation, which only fuels speculation. Kate's heart emoji on Charlotte's birthday photo was sweet, but was it a shield for something more complex?
But we have been brought closer because of the circumstances as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You are, uniquely bonded because of what we've been through.
William's comments at a rugby match, where he gushed about Charlotte's athletic pursuits, seemed genuine. But even that raised questions. Why so much emphasis on her achievements? From rugby to hurdles to track and field, Charlotte's extracurriculars are stacked, structured, and competitive. For a 10-year-old, is this still fun, or is it exhausting her? Let's take a step back. With Charlotte increasingly in the spotlight, theories are flying. Some say the tears over her transformation are emotional pride. Others aren't so sure. The fact that theories and rumors about Charlotte and her parents are gaining traction means people are sensing something deeper. Why is Charlotte's development being treated like a campaign rollout? Credible outlets describe her evolution as normal, even celebratory, but when you piece together the timeline, it starts to look more calculated than casual. Officially, there's no drama, but unofficially, royal insiders have hinted that Charlotte takes things seriously and is mature beyond her years. Lovely sentiments, or signs that this 10-year-old may already be internalizing royal expectations more than anyone realizes? Sure, fans online are cheering. The birthday portrait got flooded with heart emojis, and TikTok lit up with videos comparing Charlotte to Diana and William. Hashtags like #PrincessCharlotte 2024 gained millions of views. But among the celebratory posts, something else is bubbling up: concern. TikTok speculating on her serious demeanor, body language breakdowns by amateur analysts, and Reddit threads asking whether the transformation is just a case of growing up or something deeper. Even the glowing reviews from the Kelsey brothers about how adorable she was struck some people as odd. Why the need to emphasize how perfect she seemed? Why the need to call her a superstar? And in the wake of Kate's own health revelation, the public started clinging to feel-good Charlotte stories even harder. But emotional reactions can sometimes blur the line between what's comforting and what's real. The question lingers. Are we seeing Charlotte's true self or something else entirely? Nobody's sure, but there's a lot else going on with Kate Middleton and Prince William. The Wales kids live for the weekend athletics circuit, or so it appears. As Prince William joked during a March 2025 rugby outing, at weekends, we go from one competition to the next. In other words, every Saturday and Sunday is essentially sports day. They've got rugby in the morning and tennis or football in the afternoon. But some wonder whether this endless cycle is a bit much. The reason is that Daddy and Mummy are total sports fans. So George, Charlotte, and Louis are booked up on every pitch and court.
I don't think we've actually managed to finish a game of tennis.
No.
The two of us.
Is there a reason for that?
The rackets are all
Is that
broken.
McEnroe-style
It
endings?
becomes a mental challenge
Really?
between the two.
The family even moved from busy London to Windsor for more green space to keep up the pace. Their country home, Anmer Hall, has its own tennis court, almost like a mini training facility. And Charlotte's prep school, Lambrook in Berkshire, is known for its elite-level athletics programs. Well, Princess Charlotte, now 10, matches the family's competitive spirit stride for stride. She's a fast runner. At a Windsor investiture in May 2025, William casually revealed that Charlotte is doing the 400 meters at the minute and the hurdles, after being inspired by Olympic hopeful Keely Hodgkinson. A nice anecdote, but some observers noted how casually her training was framed, considering that 400 meters and hurdles aren't exactly playground games. The young princess is frequently seen doing handstands and cartwheels. Then, at Adelaide Cottage, Kate encourages creativity with the same structure she brings to royal events. She's a firm believer in learning through play and was photographed during a visit using a rabbit puppet to connect with a baby. It was cute, but it also showed how much emphasis is placed on developmental play, even in public-facing moments. Kate has also talked about finger painting with the kids at home, describing how Charlotte and her brothers use arts and crafts to process their feelings. While it's heartwarming to hear that creative outlets were encouraged during Kate's cancer treatment, it also suggests that even downtime at home is managed with a therapeutic lens. It's well-intentioned, but one has to wonder, is there room left for an unstructured, ordinary mess? Charlotte has long been described as the glue holding her siblings together, and royal insiders often praise her maturity. She's known to correct her brothers at formal events, whispering reminders or adjusting their posture. Admirable, sure, but it's also a lot of responsibility for a child. She's even been compared to Princess Anne for her no-nonsense demeanor. But where's the room to just be silly, loud, or even unsure of herself? Charlotte's life is certainly more modern than that of royals past. Instead of boarding school, she attends the co-ed Lambrook with her brothers, a progressive move meant to integrate the children into a more relatable routine. Lambrook is stacked with sports, arts, and amenities, and the family's move to Adelaide Cottage gave them the space for a normal upbringing. Still, with nannies, media attention, and palace protocol quietly shaping their lives, just how normal is it really? The photo ops show running around and carefree school runs, but that might be only part of the story.